You, as an inspiring game developer, have decided that you want to create a platformer. Very generic. And let's just say that you, being the very organized person you are, has set up everything that you need, including a level script which you attach to your root scene, so it knows it's a level. You also have a player object, or a player scene, which is just the scene that contains your player. You also have a ground tile map, which is also a scene that you can use between levels. So, now let's just see what creating a scene is like. So, we would go create a new node and choose level. Quite easy, right? We just create the level. Then, next up we have to have the player, so we drag and drop the player into our inspector, like this. And then we have a player, and we can move around. So next we're obviously going to make the ground, so we can drag that in there. And the ground already contains our setup tiles, which we can use to draw ground stuff in. And of course, that can't be all right, because we also have a spawn location, which is a node2d, which just tells us where to put the player. So this is also assigned to the level, and we have to create the node2d by adding a new node2d object, like this. And then we're going to have to rename its spawn location so that we all know what it's all about. And then we're going to go back into our level, and then we're just going to assign the spawn location to the spawn location export variable so we all know where it is. And that's not all, because we also need an area 2D for the next level trigger. So area 2D has to have a collision shape 2D, which is also going to contain a rectangle shape 2D, and then we can modify the size and stuff of the rectangle shape, and we can move it around to wherever we want to. And finally, we attach the next level script to the ground, to the scene transition object. Now, all of this is a lot of work, isn't it? Like, the recording that I originally had was 1 minute and 50 seconds long. That's right, creating this scene here took 1 minute and 50 seconds of my time. Obviously, there must be a way we can simplify this, right? Otherwise, why are we making a video saying, oh, simplify your thing here by doing this? Well, of course we can simplify it, and this here is what it looks like. Here is what the plugin that we're going to make, and what this will do is if we create a level here, you can see that we've now created everything we need, like a ground tile map, where you can draw in your ground, a player, which is just your player object, which can also move around, obviously, a spawn location, and a camera object, which, just in case you need a camera for some reason. Also, you can see we've also assigned the spawn location to the spawn location, which is also very nice, as you don't have to do that yourself anymore. So how do we make this, you ask? By creating what's called a plugin. If you don't know how to make a plugin, you come up to project settings, then you go plugins, create a new plugin, and then you can fill in the field with whatever the hell you want to fill it in with, and then you just click create. Alright, and now what happens is you can now see the script which you just created, and it's also under add-ons, and then your plugin name, and then it's under your plugin script. So this is the file that we're going to use. Also remember, every time you make a change, you need to disable it and re-enable it. And if something isn't working, always remember to check whether it's enabled or not. Alright, so here's the complete code for it. I don't like coding while talking, or making commentary while I'm coding, so you'll just get the full code, and then we'll go through what it does and how it does it. So let's start at the top. At tool and extend editor plugin. So at tool basically marks it as a plugin, and extend editor plugin allows it to use cool stuff. And then next up we have our two variables, preloaded variables. I always try to explicitly or I forgot which one it is, but always try and define what variable type it is. In this case, it's a resource. And preload basically just loads a thing first. So you don't have to load it every single time. We've already loaded our ground and our player reference. These can be whatever you want, as long as you know the path to it. Then next up we have our enter tree and exit tree functions, in which case we're connecting the node added function to our own custom function on node added. Now this here is, this signal that we're using here is actually the signal for whenever any node is added to the tree. So this is usually, for example, when a scene is loaded. Every single node in the tree runs this code. Here we also have an exit tree, which, well, it's good to always disconnect your signals so they don't cause weird bugs, just in case your thing crashes for some reason. And now we can get into the function. So, first of all, the signal that we're using here, node added, is whenever any node is added to the tree for any reason, which can be the user creating a node, or a scene has just been loaded, in which case every single node in the scene runs this function, I think. So, Since this is what's running it, we pass in the node parameter, which is just default, and it gets passed in with what thing got changed, what node got added from the previous functions. First, we're going to check to see if the child count is greater than 0. If it is, all that it means is that it's already got children, and we shouldn't do anything with it, so we just return. Then, next up, we have our actual function, or our actual thing that adds all the stuff. So first of all, we have a check to see if it is a level. This level is a custom type, which is defined in the level thing. And if it is, then we're going to create a new tile map, which we're just going to instantiate the ground tile map. Then we're going to add this tile map as a child of the node we just created, which will be the level. And then we're going to have to set the tilemap.owner to be the editor interface .getEdited scene root. Now, I don't know why this piece of code is needed. All of that I know is that if it isn't put in there, then you'll get a lot of problems, as you can see from my question on Godot forums. And then we also set the name of the tile map to something readable instead of what Godot automatically generates. So that's how we create a tile map. And when we do the same thing for the player, and then for the spawn location, it's a little bit different, because the spawn location isn't preloaded. So what we do here is we use node2d.new. What this does is it creates a new node2d. That's literally it. And then everything else is the same, except we are also in our node code. We also have the export variable for spawn location, which we need to assign, which is do right here. And because it always is a level, Godot is smart enough to go, yep, I know that this is definitely a thing, and you can definitely do this. Then we have just our camera script, adding a camera, which is pretty much the same thing as adding a spawn location. And yeah, this code all works. If you want to see an example of this working, it's in the start of the video. I just did a voiceover of it. So yeah, go check that one out. I'll put the timestamp up here, and let's move on. So at this point, you may have realized that this doesn't actually do anything with like next level triggers, and we want those to create its own collision shape and to set a size to it maybe. And this will save a lot of time over like the 30 seconds I spent originally doing it. And this is how you would do that. So here's my updated code, and then we'll explain it as usual. So after we check to see whether it is a level or not, now we check to see whether it is a next level trigger. So obviously this code can be adapted to do whatever you want it to do, but in this case, next level trigger is always in area 2D. So first of all, we're going to create a new collision shape using collision shape 2d.new, and then we're going to add it as usual to our next level trigger, which and then remember to always set the owner to editor interface.edited scene root. Again, don't know why this is needed, but I don't know, the answers to my question Godot forum says so we're going to do it. And now we also need to create a new rectangle shape 2D, which is the shape of our collider. If you need this to be changed to some other shape for any reason, you can also set that here as well. I think there's like circle 2D, polygon 2D, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff you can do. So now we're just going to assign the collision shape's shape to be the shape, and then we can also set the size of the shape, like this. This property editing thing can work for anything. All you really need to know is how to create a new node and add it to the tree, and then you can do whatever you want to do with it. And this is what it looks like when you try and create a next level. So we're going to go here, we're going to create a next level trigger. And now you can see that it creates a collision shape, but not only that, the collision shape also has a rectangle shape 2D, and you can see the size is what we set earlier. And we can also just move the collision shape around to do whatever we want it to do. Now this all is very cool and all, but there are a few limitations of this. For example, it is not you cannot, I shouldn't say it's not a good idea, you just cannot do anything that involves if the node is a node or if the node is of type node 2D. This is because all nodes in your 2D or 3D scene will all be of type node and or 2D or 3D. What this does is it will create what's called a recursion problem, and the editor will get very angry at you, so don't do it. This also applies to inheritance. For example, if I have class A that inherits class B, what I cannot do is go if class A is added, then if class B is added, then instantiate class A, because class A extends class B. So the node check for if it is class B will return true, because that's how inheritance works in Godot. And then you also create the circle import. Recursion thing. And nobody likes recursion, neither does the Godot editor, so don't do it. So thank you all so much for watching this video. That's all I have to say right now. This can be extended to a lot of other stuff, like how I do this for my own game, Spellcaster, which you can check out which you can check out like the entire playlist here. And yeah, it's really flexible, and it's just a good thing to know because it's always saved me like at least 10 minutes of my time just creating childs of rooms. So yeah, like and subscribe if you like this. Check out the Spellcasters devlog series, and I'll see you all in the next video.